Welcome back, students. We are on the chapter data handling. So far, if we want to represent in pie chart, we have completed 50% of the chapter. Right? Histogram and group data is complete. Pie chart, drawing and reading is complete. What remains is problems based on pie chart. Also, complete part regarding probability and chances is remaining. So this lecture will cover both of these. So this lecture will cover both of these remaining parts. So let's get started. So this is our question here. This pie chart shows expenditure in percentage on various items and savings of a family during 1 month. So what we have to do is, on which item the expenditure was maximum, ये find करना है. Next, expenditure on which item is equal to total savings of the family. Which item equal to total savings. और third में, if monthly savings of the family is 3,000 rupees, then what is the monthly expenditure on clothes? We can easily find out all of these things. Let's see how. Now, according to this pie chart, food requires 25% of the salary. So let's make a chart out of this given. Welcome back, students. We were on the chapter data handling. We have so far learned histogram and group data and pie chart reading and drawing. So if we need to represent what we have covered in a pie chart, we represent it like this. 50% of chapter is done and 50% is remaining. Meaning, histogram, group data and problems based on it are completed. Pie chart, reading and drawing is completed. What remains is problems based on pie chart and probability and chance and problems based on it. So all of this makes up other half of the chapter. So let's get started. Now this is our question here. This pie chart is giving the expenditure in percent on various items and savings of the family during 1 month. Questions are, on which item the expenditure was maximum? This is what we have to find. Then expenditure on which item is equal to savings of the family. Then we have to find the if monthly savings is rupees 3,000, then we have to find what is expenditure on clothes. When we look at this pie chart carefully, we get to know the percent distribution of all the expenditures. For example, food requires 25% of the salary, clothes 10%, and so on. So what we are going to do is, we are going to make a chart out of this information saying what is the expenditure reason and what is the percent of salary that is going on that particular item. So this is the pie chart here, and this is the data coming from it. So first question is, on which item the expenditure was maximum? Maximum expenditure meaning percent of expenditure should be the maximum. So it looks from these numbers that food is the item that requires maximum expenditure. Then next question is, expenditure on which item is equal to total savings of the family? So what is the total savings of the family? It's 15%. All we have to do is find out other item that requires exactly 15%. So from this data we can easily see that education also requires 15%. So expenditure on education is equal to total savings of the family. Next question is, if monthly savings of the family is rupees 3000, then what is the monthly expenditure on the clothes? So it's given that monthly savings of the family is rupees 3000, and we have to find out expenditure on clothes. So clothes require 10% of the total salary. We'll write that down. Right. We also know that monthly savings of family is equal to 15% of the total income. Right. So let the total income be X rupees. Right. So what will be the total income? Can we find out? 15% of total income is given equal to the number 3000. Okay. So 15x by 100 is equal to 3000. So can we find out x? Yes, easily. Therefore, x is equal to 3000 into 100 and divided by 15. So 15 ones are 15, 15 twos are 30. So salary will be, total salary of the family will be 20,000 rupees. 20,000. Right. So this we've gotten. So what do we need here? Question is, what is the expenditure on clothes? So to find that out, we can do this. 10% of total salary equal to expenditure of clothes, expenditure on clothes. So it will be 10 upon 100 into 20,000. Can you find out what the answer is? Write in your copy. It should be rupees 2000 monthly on clothes. Now our next question is, on a particular day, the sales in rupees of different items of baker's shop are given below. What we have to do is, we have to draw a pie chart that represents this data. So how to make pie chart? So the part of the pie chart that represents this particular entry or item, that will be equal to part of the total sales that this sale is making. So let's see. Total sale ka part, that means ordinary bread, equal to 320. Part of the total sales क्या हो रहा है? 32 by 72. which is equal to 16 by 36 and which is equal to 8 by 18 which is equal to 4 by 9. So this is the fraction that represents sales of ordinary bread in a month or in a particular day. Okay. So what will be the angle that represents this particular fraction? We have the formula angle upon 360 equal to part upon whole, that is 320 by 720, which when simplified comes out to be 4 by 9. So it will be the same as part upon whole. Remember last class? If you don't remember, watch my previous video. So what will be the angle? Angle will be 4 by 9 into 360, which is equal to 160 degrees. So we've got an angle for ordinary bread. In this same way, we find out all the other angles, that is angle for fruit bread, angle for cakes and pastries, angle for biscuits and others. Now it's very easy to draw the pie chart. We have all the angles. Draw a circle using your geometry box. Now with the center, draw radius on any part of the circle. It's not necessary that you should draw radius in this way only or that way only. You can draw the radius on any side of the circle. I like to draw it on right hand side. Now the first angle that we found out is 160 degree and that is for ordinary bread. So what we do here is we use protractor, put the center of the protractor, that is it looks like this, right? So center is somewhere over here. Yeah. So we put the center over here and align this 180 degree line with this radius that we have drawn. Okay. Now on this protractor, we have to mark 160 degrees starting from this radius. So from here to here it should be 160 degrees. It should look something like this. You are using protractor and geometry box, so yours should be perfect. I am doing this without using all of those things. So this is 160 degree. Now the next angle that we found out is fruit bread, for fruit bread, and it's 40 degree. So what we do is we put our protractor like this. We match the center with center of the circle and match this line here with 180 degree line marked on the protractor. And from there we mark 40 degrees. This is 40 degrees. This section represents ordinary bread. Ordinary bread. This section represents fruit bread. Now let's see what angle we found out next. It's 80 degrees and it's for cakes and pastries. Again, what you do is you put your protractor like this. Okay, you match the center of the protractor with the center of your circle and again line 180 degree with your angle line over here. And now we draw 180 degrees. It should be, 180 nahi, 80 degrees. It should be something like this. So this is 180 degrees. I'm sorry again. This is 80 degrees. And what does this part represent? Cakes and pastries. Next part is 60 degree for biscuits. You know the procedure. You put your D here like this, match the center here, align the 180 degree line with, you put the protractor over here, match center of protractor with center of your circle, align 180 degree line with this line for angle. Now we draw 60 degrees angle. This is 60 degrees. Again, you are using protractor, so your angle will be perfect. I am doing all this by Andaze Baba. So it's going to be something like this only. So 60 degrees is for biscuits. And the part that remains has to be 20 degrees. It will be 20 degrees, which is for other sales items. So I don't have any space here to write inside, so I'll just point it outside and write others. So this is the pie chart, required pie chart here. What you do first is, from given data, you find out all the angles like this. Is it visible? All the angles like this. And then you draw a circle in which you mark all these angles, and these sections represent corresponding or respective items in the given data chart. Now the next question. It's said here that a survey was made to find a type of music that a certain group of young people liked in the city. This pie chart here shows the findings of this survey. So first question is, if 20 people liked classical music, how many young people were surveyed? So what you do is, this is the question. What you do here is, you find this classical music, which is 10% of the total people who were surveyed, right? So 10% of the total people who were surveyed is given as 20. It must be confusing in words. Let's see. First question is, how 20 people liked classical. Okay, and from pie chart we can see that 10% of the total people who were surveyed liked it. So let X be total people who were surveyed, right? So 10% of X is given to be 20 people. Therefore, X is equal to, this fraction will go on right hand side but in reciprocal form. So X equal to 20 into 100 divided by 10. So which is equal to 200. If 20 people liked classical music, then 200 people were surveyed. Very easy. Next is which type of music is liked by maximum number of people. So all we have to do is we have to search on pie chart largest percentage number, which is 40%. So what is the type of music with respect to 40%? It's light. So light music is liked by maximum number of people. Okay. The third question is, if a cassette company were to make 1000 CDs, how many of each type would they make? So if they are making their cassettes based on this particular survey, then they would make 40% of the cassettes which are light music, 30% on folk music, 10% on classical and 20% on semi-classical. So what will be the total number of CDs here? It's given 1000. So all you have to do is find out 40%, 30%, 10%, 20% of given number, that is 1000 CDs. You can do that easily. So solve this one on your own. Now this is very interesting question. We are given this data here in percent form, and what we have to do is we have to prepare a pie chart. So we know the formula. I told you in last lecture that this fraction here, these fractions are equal to each other. So what we are given? We are given percent of the data, that is water in various ocean, right? So the Pacific Ocean has 40% of water. So we are given 40 out of 100. And what we have to do is, to prepare a pie chart, we have to find angle that belongs to or that represents this part of the data. It will be angle divided by 360. So out of all the 4 values, we have 3 values and we have to find this 4th value, which is angle. You can easily do that. Do this question on your own. Now let's move on to chance and probability. Has it ever happened to you in rainy season that you take your umbrella with you expecting rain and it doesn't rain? In fact, it's a very bright sunny day. And one day that you forget your umbrella or don't take your umbrella with you, it rains. So the chances that it will rain on a rainy day are more, and yet you go through this experience. So in this way, in some situations, we take such a chance and it might not go the way we want it to go. It might not, right? But we can say that it might go the way we want. It might happen that on the day that you take your umbrella with you, it will rain. And you will be happy that day, that it rained the day you took your umbrella and you didn't have to get wet, right? You must have also watched cricket match. What happens before the cricket match is started? Captains of both the teams go out on the ground and they toss a coin. Why do they do this for? They toss this coin to decide which team will bat first. So what are the possible results in this particular experience? In this experiment, possible results are either the coin will show heads or tails. So such an experiment where outcomes are fixed number of outcomes are there, it is called random experiment. And this experiment must have some outcomes. So these outcomes are called events. So in a coin tossing experiment, the case where heads comes up is an event, and another case, that is when tails comes up, it is also an event. So these events are classified into three categories. One is certain event, possible event, and impossible event. Can you think of some certain events? Yes, the sun will rise in the east direction. It's a certain event. It will never happen that one day you wake up in the morning and sun has not risen. So every morning sun will rise. This is a certain event. Possible event is if you study hard in the exam, for the exam, and the event that you will come first in the exam, it is a possible event. It might happen that someone else studied more than you, or someone else wrote more than you in the exam. So depending on your work, you cannot say that you will come first in exam. It's a possible event, but it's not a certain event. Impossible event. You can easily think of impossible events. For example, imagine a cow flying. Is it possible? No, it's impossible event. Right? So events can be categorized between these three categories. And possible events are further classified into three categories. One is equally likely or even chances. Second is more likely. And third is unlikely or less likely. Can you think of examples of such events equally likely? Take example of coin tossing experiment. Here, heads or tails, which one will come up? It's equally likely because our coin is not biased. You cannot say that this particular coin will always give me heads up. So when this coin is tossed up, I will call heads and I will win the toss. No, this doesn't happen. So the experiment where coin is tossed comes and the events are in that experiment, events are equally likely to happen. So is the experiment where we throw dice. When we throw dice, there are 6 possibilities. 6 events are possible. 1 will come up, 2 will come up, 3 will come up, 4 will come up, 5 will come up, and 6. So these 6 events are possible when you throw a dice, and all of these events are equally likely. None of this is biased. Now more likely. For example, I have a bag full of balls. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green balls and 1, 2, 3 red balls. So if I put my hand inside the bag and take out 1 ball, so it's more likely that a green ball will come out. Why? Because there are more green balls than red balls. So this bag is biased, right? So what is more likely here? The event where a green ball will come out. And unlikely or less likely is, I have only one blue ball in this bag. So the event where this blue ball will come out is unlikely or less likely. So this is what probability means. That we have certain number of total outcomes that can occur, and we predict that the outcome that we are interested in has mathematically this number of chances to occur. This is called probability. Now, when we formulate this, it is probability equal to favorable events or outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Now in the bag that I drew, I had 5 green balls, 3 red balls and 1 blue ball. Okay, now the event that 1 blue ball will come out, what is the probability? Probability of blue is equal to 1. Only one favorable event is there. And what is total number of outcomes? When I put my hand inside the bag, it can be 5 plus 3 plus 1. Any one of the 9 balls can come out, right? So total number of events is 9. 9 balls can come out of that bag. So probability that blue ball will come out is 1 by 9. Similarly, probability that a green ball will come out is 5 by 9. And probability that a red ball will come out is 3 by 9 equal to 1 by 3. Always reduce in simplest form. So this is the probability here. Now this officially ends our chapter data handling. What you do is you solve NCERT book questions and NCERT exemplar. Very good problems in here. So try to solve NCERT exemplar too. And you can ask your doubts. So see you in next class.